What's up? This is All Up in Your Biz, and I'm here with Zain, the co founder of London Nootropics. Zain, what's up? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Well, that is actually a lie. I should be drinking Zen because I have 4 kids. They're all sick. My childminder is sick. I was at the doctor's with one of them this morning. I literally ran here. Riverside is down. Now we're on Zoom, but I'm here. And I am drinking coffee. So it's my second coffee of the day. So my favorite topic is manifestation, but my second favorite topic is coffee. So I know we're going to be talking about adaptogenic coffee today. So I'm going to let you start. Tell me how you started the business and how you started with your friend and having a co founder. Like, where did it all start?
So it started, we've got the medium to short version, right? So Shez, I went to school with many moons ago. And we were really good friends at school. And a few years after school, I went to stay with him in Bournemouth in the south of England, on the south coast. And his cousin was a semi-professional boxer. And I had to go to the gym every day to get a lift back from work. So one of the things he started giving us is like this chemical-laced pre-workout drink, and we'd have all this energy in the world, and then we would crash and feel horrible. And I remember my pee would distinctively smell of something, and I'm like, "What is that we're drinking?" And me and Chez always being quite health conscious. We were like, like let's just have coffee, and we started adding natural ingredients to coffee for like a more sustained boost. Um, and I can't remember exactly why we came up with that. Maybe we saw something online, but we were adding things like guarana extract, which is essentially more caffeine. Now, Shez being friends with everyone in the whole entire world was in the changing room, he's like pre-making like our mixes and going like, guys, try this pre-workout. And people were like, yo, I would buy this. Like, you should make this into a business. So then we started thinking we should, but we need to get some real expertise on board because we're just blending whatever we can find that we think is good. Um, so we met Amanda, a nutritionist, and she was like, guys, do you know about adaptogens and their synergies with caffeine? Like, you have to try these functional mushrooms. You have to try these other root adaptogens. They are incredible, and this is what you need to be putting with the coffee. So she explained the synergies together. So we're like, okay, we're down. So the moment we started trying adaptogens, like everything changed. It wasn't anymore about creating like a pre-workout coffee before the gym, like a whole lifestyle change. It was like a light bulb turned on in our heads, not just a light bulb for the business, but it was more like a physical light bulb. Like, oh my God, this is what my brain is like when it's like awake. So ever since then, we've like started taking adaptogens every day, depending on what we needed in our day. So we decided to make three adaptogenic coffee blends depending on what we need in our day.
Oh,
So yeah.
yeah. And how did you, like, say, for example, where did you source all of this stuff? Because I've read on some, and I've seen this before, like lion's mane. I've seen it in kind of capsule form, like for like
Yeah.
brain boosting or something like that. Like, when you decided, oh, we're going to start making adaptogenic coffee, were you two both in employment? Were you, or, like, were you working at something? And were you doing this at the same, kind of at the same time?
Yeah. So we were working for a good like year. I think up until like a month before we were shown on Dragon's Den, I was still working for clients. So working with some startups and helping clients out with marketing and stuff. And at that point, we were so busy, we're like, guys, I'm gonna stop working next week if you don't find someone else. But and then going back to your first question in terms of sourcing, this is one of the reasons why we actually started as well. So we had the blends, and it's like, okay, there is one or two mushroom coffees or mushroom extracts out there, but they didn't taste good. There wasn't a good experience. But the most important thing with adaptogens was the active compounds, like the beneficial active compounds and the quality, right? And we found it very hard to find like really, really high quality adaptogen extracts that were readily available and in a convenient and delicious form. So without supplementing, there was no like, I don't know, beverages on the market with the highest quality extracts. So we spent 2 years like scouring the globe for the highest quality, and we learned how to read a COA, a certificate of analysis, which beneficial compounds to look for. Um, and like we must have tested 20 different lion's mane extracts. Um, so yeah, with mushrooms, the reason why we need an extract is because our body can't break down the chitin cell wall of mushrooms. So with plants, we can fully break down the cell wall, we can get all the nutrients from them. We can't do that with mushrooms. So we need an extract, which makes the active compounds bioavailable so we can absorb them. Now, with things like cordyceps, we look for cordycepin. With lion's mane, hericenones and erinacines are the actives that cross the blood-brain barrier, but they aren't the easiest to commercially test at scale. So we look for other like other actives like beta glucans as like this is an indication. Now we're super excited at the moment because we found some new mushroom extracts that are like so good. So we're really proud of our current ones. But the new ones we're NDA'd with because the companies never work with any other brand. They've got their own brand.
Okay.
And they make practitioner level oncology mushroom extracts. So that's a very long answer into where we source our adaptogens, but we still import everything ourselves because we don't find any of this readily available in the UK through wholesalers, etc. And it is one of the most important factors in our products.
And is it expensive then? Like, is it, because obviously if you can't get it and it's not readily available, it means that your product has to be, I guess, more premium, more expensive. And, um, that's going to be in the cost effectively.
Yeah, it is. We kind of take a hit on our margins. So we know well, we know how much it is to get like some okay quality mushroom powders. Most of it is from China. Um, and we kind of know like because these companies approach us, they're like, we supply X, Y, and Z. Can we supply you? We put some samples in the post to your office and we try it. And some of our mycologist friends are like, yep, that's this extract from this brand or this. It is, they're telling the truth. They do supply them. And they pay like £100 a kg of mushroom extract. So quite cheap. And we're like, damn, they must make a huge margin. But we're like, do you know what? We'll stick to what we do. We made the blends for ourselves. It is really expensive. And it just means we've got lower margins because what we realized is the other end of the stick is you want your products to be accessible for everyone. So you don't want to be like, okay, because I've got higher quality extracts, I'm going to price it so it's super expensive. So we're like, do you know what? We'll take a hit on our margins. That will be okay.
Yeah. And do you, like, how did you, for example, start with, like, I want to take back so people understand, like, the whole entrepreneurial process? Like, where did the name come from? Like, how did you get the branding done, the name, the little packets that you had, like, the names of the coffees? Like, is that just putting your two heads together and just doing it together? Did you get a branding agency? How did that work?
So we bootstrapped everything and we're still bootstrapped today. So more or less everything's just been our own decision on like, I think that would be a good name. And we were like London, we're from London, and nootropics are like nootropics help with cognitive function. And we only deal with natural nootropics. So the name was just like, yeah, we're London and we're nootropics. So
Yeah, I
it
didn't.
was very basic. It wasn't like some branding team behind it. It was literally, I think it just does what it says on the tin. And then that blends, so they all kind of give you that feeling of so Zen, I want to find my Zen. I want to have a Zen morning. Mojo, I need to find my mojo. Um, and flow. So flow was changed, right? So it used to be called grind, like I'm gonna grind through my day, I'm gonna be productive. Now it's about flowing through your day. And it wasn't like, it wasn't us going, we're gonna change the name, right?
Yeah,
So we want to start.
you were saying that earlier before we came on that somebody saw you on Dragon's Den and they were like, "Hey, we've got this name. We've got this name
Yeah,
Grind, so you
so
better change it." At that point, did you have to negotiate with them and say, "Hey, can we just sell the stock that we have because you must have had a certain amount of stock in place that had Grind on the name." Um,
exactly. Exactly. And the owner, so Grind is a coffee company. Um, and we had a blend called Grind. So as soon as we were on TV, we had like an email saying, "Hey guys, this is my trademark, this is my brand that I built over years. And you guys have just gone on national TV with basically my brand name." And we were like, first of all, we
you're welcome.
apologize. Yeah. But we were like, listen, we're really sorry. But it was like, you've got 3 weeks to, take this off your website and stop selling it. So we were kind of like, look, we've got about 6 months worth of stock that we could try and shift. And yeah, we were just like the guy was super nice, super, super nice guy, like really understanding. I think he's been through an entrepreneurial journey himself. And like at one point he's like, like these are my lawyers in the CC and they will handle this. But he was like, we were like, okay, look, we've gone to the drawing board. We're gonna change the name. It's all fine with us. Our lawyer actually said like, because it's such a generic word, like if you wanted to keep it, you can. But a lot of our we're not so sure about that because there is like all this goodwill stuff and
Yeah, yeah.
the time you own a term. So like booking.com is a generic term, but it's like for the booking website. So we're kind of learning all this stuff as we go. And a lot of our customers were already like, could I get that 60 box of just the flow blend? And we're like, do they mean grind? And this had happened about like five, six, seven times. So it was very easy to be like, okay, so now grind becomes flow, right? Because people are literally calling it flow. And it kind of fitted with the blend more. Like grind is like kind of you're grinding along, whereas flow is you're flowing along. And I kind of line was like find your flow. So it kind of all worked out for a reason. It was a little bit stressful. Um, but this is when you look back and you go, that's why that happened.
Yeah, it meant to be sometimes. And also, I just think that there's that immediate panic. Like, I'm a lawyer myself. So, like, putting your lawyer, like, mentioning a lawyer, and you're like, oh shit, we've got to do something here. So, were you able to sell it, or did you have to, like, just do something with the name, like, put a sticker over it? Or I know that's not perfect for branding and stuff. Or, like, was he kind of like, can we just have a little bit more time, please? It's
Yeah, it was
expensive.
literally like, can we have a little bit more time, please? Like, it's going to take us, like, we estimate this long. And he was like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Which was really nice of him because if he wanted to, he could have been like, listen, if you're not moving it and getting rid of it. I was like, listen, we don't want to destroy the planet as well. Like, this is going to go to waste. And he was like, yeah, 100% use it all.
Yeah.
Um, so it
Yeah,
was,
that's
it was
actually
actually really
good.
nice of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually a really good point, like sustainability as well, and not letting it go to waste. And he sounds like he's got a entrepreneurial spirit, so I'm sure he's been through like some tough times himself with whatever in his own business because like it is not easy to be an
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
yeah.
If you want to manifest your dream life, then what are you waiting for? Pause Penny has created an amazing manifestation box to help you manifest your dreams. It is backed by neuroscience. 7 simple steps, and the box tells you how to do it all. Grab your manifestation box at pausepenny.com and use the code podcast20 for 20% off. So
Exactly.
so how did you get on Dragon's Den? How did that come about?
So, we had an email, like I had an email from a BBC researcher
Mhm.
saying, do you want to apply for this show? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. So I wrote back, yeah, yeah, cool. Can you send us the info? Yep, yeah, here's the info. And then like a few emails later, the guy's like, "Can you send a video of you and your business partner?" Hey, and we haven't recorded anything. We're like camera shy. I'm like, Shez, can you just do a quick video? And we just kept laughing. I just remember us just cracking up every time. I'm like, no, we need to do this seriously. So we did that, and then we kind of forgot about it because we weren't taking it 100% serious. And then we just had an email saying, like, you've got filming date in 2 months. Like, you need to practice your pitch. You need to deliver this. And I'm on the phone to Shez going, can you come to mine? Like, we're actually going to be on TV. You need to we need to practice the pitch
And when
because
was this? When was this?
this was, I want to say 2021. Like, we're about like a year and a few months after we launched the business. And then we filmed it in the summer in like July. And then it was shown the following
Following
year
year.
in February.
And did you that when they said come and pitch and come like did you have to send in lots of documentation before that or was it just here's a video of us? Like was there a lot of work to be done like in terms of financials, forecasting, all that kind of stuff?
There was a lot of work, but it was more due diligence on our product.
Okay.
Um, because the BBC are going to put your products on national TV. They need to make sure that everything is like above board in terms of like where you're sourcing your products from. Are they 100% legal, etc., etc.
They didn't
Because you
catch
do
the
go,
grind.
they didn't catch, they didn't catch the grind. Yeah, exactly. Um, but there was a lot of due diligence that happened before we went on.
Yeah, I actually got an email as well. It was actually on my Instagram from a researcher asking me would I apply for Dragon's Den, and this was back in May, May of 2023. But I had just had twins, and we were going away for like 5 weeks, and my husband was like, "I will divorce you if you think you're going on to do this." Like, no, he wasn't really serious, but I just want to do everything. You know, you want to do everything for your brand and your business, but sometimes you're just like, okay, look, I can't do this. Plus, they would have absolutely crucified me on numbers because I'm not great with the numbers. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. But so anyway, you did the video with Shez, you sent it in, and you got called 2 months, say later, and you had to keep that all confidential, I assume.
And then after we actually filmed, they're like, you can't tell anyone what's happened until it's been aired, right? Like your family and friends, or we might not air you if it gets out. So we're like, Mom, don't tell anyone, but I'm about to tell like yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, listen, you literally cannot tell anyone, like not your friends, anyone. So I think I just remember I told my mom, and I think they kind of know as well. They kind of like, listen, you're gonna tell your family, but no one can know. Um, so yeah, we did have to keep it super quiet. It wasn't easy because you've got loads of friends
And you're
and people.
excited. You're
Yeah, yeah.
excited. It's a big show. And did you have any pre getting to see the dragons? Did you have to go through other interviews? Like was it a given that you would be on the show like when they said, "Okay, we want you before the dragons" once they did the due diligence or did you have to go through a few more hoops and people before you actually got to pitch?
No, there wasn't any more hoops. It was more like look, nothing's guaranteed. Um, like not everyone that comes in is shown on the show on TV.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so my brother was like, listen, whatever it is, accept the offer because then they'll show you on TV. And I'm like, okay, I've got it. I get an offer. So that's kind of where we went now. They say as well, like you can be shown if you are shown for 2 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on like the clips, but you're actually in there for like an hour and a half. And then they'll condense it down for the episode. They gave us like a really long slot, I think 14, 15 minutes, which was incredible. But yeah, and there was loads of other brands there, like on the same day. And you can see everyone like nervous and like, and they're putting like makeup on you, and yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
when you
pretty
when you it's amazing. I think it's like there's a lot of work that goes into something like that, and really it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there, especially when you're sitting in, and also they did say stuff like, Stephen Bartlett said something like the name, like I can't even remember the name, and I was like, I remember the name. So they're not just showing you in all your glory, like you potentially could be going on there and they could be almost slating your business, which luckily they didn't. But they do still, I imagine, like you said, you're in there for an hour and a half, and it's edited down. So they get to choose what clips
exactly. But
are.
you know what? They're really cool. Like they're really, really nice. Like the editors and stuff. Because we know that actually, um, like the dragons themselves were really nice, as in they gave us so much advice, this and that. Um, yeah, Stephen Bartlett said some stuff that they're definitely not going to show. Like it just went over my head at the time, and just like, can you believe he said that? Like it was really rude. But the other guys, like I know one of the other ones just kept asking the same question over and over again about numbers, and I just kept saying the same reply, and I'm like, I don't get it. I know my numbers
Yeah.
until I think it was like the third or fourth time. Deborah's like, I think he's answered it, and like she was getting. So a lot of it is just a little bit of a game, as in they want to get a reaction out of you, and it's not 100% serious. But I know another brand that was on the same season as us, like really, really cool guy. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so nervous." Like I like because we'd already seen his episode. He's just like, I was so nervous, like how they were going to show me because every question he's just like, I failed it horribly. And I was just like, do you know what? I watched it and I'm a bit surprised they didn't offer you like some deals at the end. Like you did pretty good. And he's like, oh no, trust me, they only showed the good bits. Like I actually failed at everything horribly, well, like horribly. That's why there's no offer at the end. So there's always something extra that happens that the viewers don't get to see, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like your co-founder, Shez, and obviously they edited it, but my God, he's persistent, and I really feel like Deborah was like about to say something like, I don't know, and he's like, hold on, let me tell you my strategy,
Yeah.
and he said some things like, you know, we've only got one chance, like he was not going to let it go, and I just think like in business, you have to be so persistent. So like I just thought that was great. But ultimately you guys went in looking for 50K for 10% of your business. You did get offered um the amount divided between Deborah and Sarah Davies, but for total 30%, and you kind of negotiated then. But did you take it?
So, so in the short answer, no, we didn't in the end. We were like, it was literally a 5 minute conversation with one of their assistants that was essentially like, what are you guys gonna do for us? And like we said it on the show, and I'm like, put it in writing. And they're like, no, sign over your like sign over 30% and then we'll talk. And I'm just like, no. Um, so it kind of started before we actually went on. We spoke to a few brands and we're like, what's the situation? Like you accepted an offer and like out of five brands we spoke to, four of them said, oh yeah, we accepted it on the show, but it wasn't something for us in the end. So already we were like, a lot of brands will accept on the show, but maybe like you don't have to go through with it if you don't want to. So we were like, okay, let's ask them what they're gonna do for us. Like, what's the idea? Because if we're giving away a huge chunk of our company, we need to know that, right? And then we kind of came to the conclusion that for some brands that have got like a beautiful product, but they're not so good on that business side, it's incredible for them, right? And for some brands, they might roll out the red carpet and be like, look, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you. Let's be open-minded about it and let's see what they say if we get an offer. And then the other thing is, I was like, I want to ask for 100K, I want to ask for 200K. And the BBC were like, oh no, you can only ask for X amount. And they kind of dictated what we could ask for.
Yeah.
Um,
I think as well,
So
what people may not realize is, like I'm a corporate lawyer, so the writing afterwards, the contractual negotiations is key. So, like, if you've got like let's take Ireland, like if you've got somebody, people who own 30% of the shares, and then they're taking a slice of your profits, they potentially could have a right to put somebody on the board. They're dictating the strategy, which you may or may not want, depending on how involved they're in. But then you could get another investor in that takes, you've a smaller piece of the pie to give the other investor. And then you have to be mindful of not pushing over the 50%, because then you two co-founders could be out the door of your own company,
yeah.
removed as board directors, all of this. So like there's a lot of tactics and strategy there. So you guys kind of went in with the logic of like, well, we're going to ask for what the BBC tells us to ask for effectively because it's dictated to us. We are going to say yes to the offer, but whether or not we take it is another story. Like what would have Deborah and Sarah offered, like in terms of strategic advice? Did you know? Did you get that information?
So being like the actual part on the show, it felt like 10, 15 minutes, but apparently it was an hour and a half, right? It just
Yeah.
went by so quick. And yeah, I remember saying like, oh, could you tell us like what you guys like what are the plans? Like what do we like how involved are you? And they're like, yeah, we set up on the show. And we're like, So in terms of I remember them giving us some advice, all of the dragons. Like Tuka, Stephen, Peter, like all of them were like, oh, you guys should do this or that. And we're like, yeah, I love it. And they're really, really helpful. But the actual like if they turned around and they said like look, we've got connections here and here, we've got a black book, we're going to open all these doors for you, then it was like a different conversation, because then
Yeah.
it's like okay. And we know that we've got some friends with brands that have like went on the Dragon's Den and this is what happened, and they said like look, I want to partner with so and so as like a celebrity with my brand, and I know you know him, and like within 2 weeks they made that connection happen.
Yeah.
um so yeah, but I think as well, we kind of like, and this is probably a little bit in hindsight, we kind of liked and we still like that organic growth and doing things ourselves. There's like a sense of achievement inside it and making the decisions that we want. And it's opened our eyes a lot because we have been approached by different investors since Dragon's Den and before. And one of the things we realized is like a lot of them, especially when they're looking at like some of the larger investment funds, are like they just want to make a return on investment as quick as possible, whereas we're able to still use the highest quality adaptogen extracts, even though it impacts our margins. And I think now, like given our growth and our subscriptions and stuff, we can say like, look, this is working the way we want it to work. And if you want to work with us, you have to be on board with how we do things.
Yeah,
Um,
and I agree. I think that like one of the things most entrepreneurs want is like they want to make the money, they want to get to the end, they're impatient. It's all about the money, it's all about the return. I mean, even Tuka on Dragon's Den was like, this is a long term, it's too long term for me.
mm.
Um, are you ready for the long game? Or like, are you okay with the long game?
We're loving the journey. We're loving the journey. I think like even in the last 12 months, we go to some like we sponsor some events and go to some really, really cool health and well-being festivals, and conferences and shows. And I absolutely love it. And I think before we were a little bit health conscious and we're like, look, we want to be healthy. Now we're surrounded by it. Like we go to the Biohacker Summit in Helsinki in a few weeks, and we're so excited because we've been to it a few times. And you learn so much. Like I have a red light therapy thing at home. I have like a higher dose mat. I have some routines now. And like before the brand, I didn't really do all this stuff. I didn't know what red light. I think the next thing is I'm gonna get a Whoop or an Aura ring, right?
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
just
holding on.
just I just bought a Whoop for my husband and he's been wearing it, and um it's actually pretty phenomenal of how so he's extremely into health and fitness, really good eater. But I always tell him like you need a little bit more sleep. So he's actually started to like focus on his sleep a bit more because of the Whoop. But I am telling you, they do a thing called strain, like how much strain your body is under, and the highest point is 21. Like you don't want to get there. And on Sunday, he was 20.5. And this was because we've got 4 kids and literally our weekend is insane running around after. So, like, every parent needs Zen. They need Zen and they need a Whoop. Totally, you know?
Then and a whoop to show how stressed out you are.
Yeah,
Surely
yeah,
that's gonna like put you a little bit higher. It's like, damn, I'm 20.5 or I'm 21 now. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. He's a lawyer, and like his day with the kids is more stressful than his legal job, you know?
love it.
So,
Love it.
but I did see well, first of all, I want to get back to just a little bit of Dragon's Den on one clip that I saw Shez saying that he manifested this. Is he a big manifester? Are you a manifester? Do you believe in the power of mindset and going after your goals and all of that? Or what's your take on it all?
It's yeah, I do. And I don't have like a say like a vision board, and although I do believe in that stuff, so it's a little bit hypocritical to say I actually don't have one. Um, but it's more like you put out there in the universe, like, do you know what? And this is Shaz, he was saying, like, do you know what? When I was a kid, I was like seeing myself up there on Dragon's Den. Um, and then it just happens, right? And it's like this has happened so much to us since we launched the brand. We look back and like, how did that happen? Like we had a pop-up in Piccadilly Circus in London underneath like the famous lights where Barclays Bank was for 6 months. We were essentially given the space to run an adaptogenic coffee bar. Like, and you know how expensive rent
Oh
is in
my
London. It
God.
was like £500 a month. It was insane. And we were like, how did we get this? And then we're stepping back, like, okay, so we met this person and this person and this happened, and okay. And when you look back, you're like, damn, that's great. Like we didn't try and manifest that because that was a lot of work. But it was a lot of fun as well. But I think then going on from the manifest thing is like whether we manifested it or not is we've met a lot of like health and wellness experts, and when you were talking about sleep, something popped into my mind that is I've recommended it to a few people, and it's like just changed their sleep game. So there's a lot we can do to optimize sleep, right? From getting loads of light in the morning to blocking blue light in the evenings, etc., etc. But one of like the easiest tricks that this guy taught us on a retreat, so a biohacker called Dave Asprey, he said if you ever wake up at like between 3 and 5 a.m., I think,
Yeah.
he's like, this is because your brain needs something. I'm not that scientific with this stuff. He's like, before you sleep, have milk with collagen, MCT, and he gave one other suggestion. And what this is basically fuel for your brain, so it's not going to wake up. Oh, so I remember how why you wake up, right? It's because your brain's trying to get something, right, to continue doing its sleep thing, like to refresh and etc. But if you don't have any, it will take it from your muscles. Now, when it takes it from your muscles, it releases adrenaline, which wakes you up.
I
So this
wake
is
up
why
all the time between like 4 and 5 a.m.
So
All the
this is
time.
it. So maybe try like a scoop of collagen with MCT oil in like some milk before sleep, and then see if it just. I gave it to my mom and she's just like, "Oh my God, I just sleep all night now." And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, "Yeah,
So now
okay,
you're going
cool." Because
to
I
have
sleep
a
like a
sleep
log.
coffee. Not with coffee, but a sleep drink.
Do you know what? That is on our radar. Something that we really want to do. Because there's some incredible adaptogens that help us wind down, like good for our nervous system. And they help with deep sleep, like reishi.
Yeah, and I think that what you could do is you could get your Whoop, start like testing out these drinks, take them for a solid amount of time, kind of keep the same patterns, like no alcohol or whatever, just so you can see does it actually impact it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but then like post the Dragon's Den, how did that like launch your business? Was it huge for the business? You're now in like some really premium stores. Tell us how you got into those.
Yeah, so that's a fun story. So the tea and coffee buyer at Harrods wrote to us. I think it might have even been before Dragon's Den was shown, and was like, "I'd love to try your adaptogenic coffees. I've had a few customers like request them, and I love what you guys do and your quality, your ethos." So we sent him the box. Now this is when our box was literally a craft box with a logo on it.
Yeah.
And we're like really excited for him to try it. And then he writes back, and I've actually got like one here, but literally like this, right?
Yeah.
And this was it because this is actually like the colored now for our mushroom coffee box, but it was like this, and he's like,
So it's
"Oh,
just a
thanks
box
so
for
much."
people who are looking. It's just a box. It doesn't have the sleeve on it with the
Yeah,
name on the front.
just
Yeah.
a box, plain box with a logo, and it's like, "Thanks for the samples. What about your retail box?" And I'm like telling Shez, I'm like, Shez,
That is our retail box.
what is it? What does this guy mean? And he's like, oh, we need to put like a barcode on the back and actually say what it is on the front of the box. I'm like, well, yeah. So Shez was like, let's get some sleeves, slide it onto the box and send it back to him. And it worked. And he was like, yep, love it, love the designs, let's place an order. And then the next thing is we were speaking to Selfridges, and they were like, yeah, we really like what you guys are doing.
Did they contact you first or did you reach out to them? Can you
I
remember?
think it was a bit of both because it was through a third party.
Okay. Using your
It
connections.
was yeah,
Yeah.
and they were like, "We love it, but all the boxes are the same color. So it's if they were different colors, we'd put it on our shelves because then you know what blend each blend is." And we're like, "That is the best idea ever. Like, why aren't our boxes
I
like?"
know.
We're like, "Thanks." And then so we made different color boxes, and then we were stocked in Selfridges.
And the reason why they're not different colors and all of this is because it costs more to make a box with different colors, number one. So different boxes, different stock. So I know this for myself, for my own brand, right? So Pause
Yeah.
Penny, we create manifestation and gratitude boxes. And on the front of the boxes, it says 7 cards, 7 days, 7 minutes. Plain, plain, plain. And then again, like you, people said, but how do I know what it actually is? And I was like, I don't want people to know that it's a manifestation box on their desk or a gratitude box because they don't want people, if you know, if it's in their office or whatever. So I had to create the sleeves. Now the sleeves cost more money and they're a pain in the ass to get on. And like I ripped so many, but you need these to get into retail because you need to put the barcode on and there's those extra steps, but that is extra cost. How did you find like negotiating with retail? Because typically they just screw you on price, which is totally understandable. They have to make a product, but I guess on the flip side, it's brand promotion.
Yeah. So we kind of understood that, do you know what? There's not going to be a huge amount of profit or margin here for us. We'd rather do it exactly for that, for brand promotion. But we were able to negotiate by that education piece on quality and explaining like, look, we have lower margins. We're not like other brands because of the quality that we use, but we want to elevate the experience of your customers here. They're going to love our brand. Um, but funnily enough, like we talk about retail a lot, like we haven't actually got a retail box. So
Yeah.
everyone's like, you don't have a retail box? I'm like, so our boxes are wide, right? Because they fit through the letterbox. Now, department stores like Harrods and Selfridges have got loads of shelf space, and they're like, right, we want you because we like your quality. It doesn't matter as much as some other stores. So we're actually creating a retail box at the moment, and then we're in some exciting talks with some retailers, and then we can do the whole retail thing. So in terms of the B2B side is we also have corporate and hospitality, um, which are pretty good for us.
Yeah, which I imagine would be great. I mean, I can imagine this in a law firm where people I like lawyers drink a lot of coffee, a lot, and we know that it's not good for our sleep past a certain amount of time. So why not drink something that has got adaptogens in it, and it's good for your flow or your zen or your mindset. Like we need something. So I can see um, it just being really good in that, like that corporate space, or like the
Yeah.
hotels that are kind of a bit more trendy and cool. Or I was even thinking like on flights, like they might need to be you might need to be in business class, but like you're getting off a flight flying from Europe, like UK, Ireland, over to California, like, and typically all you do is drink a load of coffee. But like if you had a drink like this, you're getting off, you can be starting your day, and it's actually something that's good for you.
I think you should come and consult for us. It's like, so with yeah, spot on with all of that, and we definitely need to get some to your husband.
Yes.
With yeah, and then with hotels, yeah, perfect. And there's so many applications because you have, I learned what turn down is. Like you have like turn down, mini bar, like in the bar, in room. So hotels is really good because you have that single serve sachet, everything's fresh, and high quality, and premium hotels want that. They want to offer that. They want to elevate the guest experience. And we tell them things like, listen, when you sleep in a new environment, only half your brain sleeps. It's an evolutionary thing. So, like back in the days when we were living in caves and you're in a new environment, half your brain's awake just in case there's a tiger living nearby that you need to, run away from. Then with like travel, so cordyceps in our Mojo blend is known to rapidly reset our body clock from jet lag and travel fatigue. So we're like, and we were already like on flights going, can I just get some hot water, please? And just make it ourselves. And we're like, we should really just be on some airlines. So we're doing a pilot at the moment in the Virgin Lounge in Heathrow, with a view to saying, like, let's see where this goes.
You also need, I have another idea. This is called free consulting, by Yvonne Trakian. You also need to be in the big gyms. You need to be in Peloton. You need to be in Barry's boot camps, stuff where gym goers are going in the morning right before their class, and they want like a something a little bit healthier or something right after. Like I think it could be a good, and these spots are premium. People are already paying premium price for a really good gym or like a
And they
CrossFit or
want,
something
I
like
love
that,
that.
you know?
Love that. Yeah, yeah, 100%. We've done some stuff with some cool gyms already, and we want to do some more stuff. So places like Third Space and the F45. We
5.
love
Yeah.
F45 and FS8 there. I think it's like Reformer Pilates class. There's a few. There's a really cool one called Move Your Frame, and they have a few branches in London. They've got the coolest classes. Like I
Do
looked at
they?
the class list because they're always like, listen, why don't you come for a class and then afterwards you can make everyone adaptogenic coffees and we'll do some breakfast club thing. And I was looking at their classes and it was like trampolining, tits and ass, and all of this, and we're just like, not tits and ass. I meant
Yeah.
it's definitely. But yeah, they had a really cool list. So
Yeah, that
I know
sounds
the girls in the
cool.
office are like, yeah, we're gonna go down and do some classes and yeah, love that idea. Keep them flowing.
Yeah.
Like
I'll
consultancy.
send you an email because we have to wrap up now time, but I'm going to ask you my final two questions. Number one is, these are always the same questions for everyone. Who are you grateful for?
Who are we grateful for?
You better say
You
your
know what?
co-founder. Come on.
Oh yeah, 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 100%, 100%. That goes without saying. Shez my co-founder. And like if we go like beyond friends and family and the team, um, and we mentioned it before we came on, is Gabor Mate.
Mm.
So meeting Gabor Mate and him just giving advice and being like, he literally looked at me and circled some pages in his book. Like I was like, listen, dude, I just wanted to get a signature here. He's just
Yeah.
like circling chapters, looking at me, going, you need to read this, you need to. So and like just the impact that people like him have had on people, like super grateful.
He's huge. Yeah, what an amazing, how amazing to get to meet to him. Was there any one thing that he said that you were like, God, I have to remember this? I heard him on a podcast recently with Rangan Chatterjee, and he said that, he looks back and like it wasn't a regret as such, but he's like, I wish I didn't work so hard. Like working hard is almost like striving more and more is like a trauma. You know, it's like he bases
Mm.
everything via on trauma. And he's looking back now and he's like, I wish I didn't work so hard, which I think a lot of people say. Was there anything in particular that he said that you're just like just really kind of
Yeah.
resonated with you?
I mean, he looked into my eyes and gave me some advice and stuff that's like it's personal, but it's like it's just life changing. But
Yeah.
if there's something that he taught us all on that retreat, because we saw him in London with Dr. Rangan as well, and since the retreat at another event in London, that we're at. But on the retreat, he said, and there's five things. So someone was asking for personal advice, right? And there's two types of pain that he'd already said that we can go through if we're not happy in a relationship. It's the pain of leaving someone that you love, right? Or the pain of staying with them and being in an unhappy. So you've got to choose your pain. Now, this lady was like this is like post-retreat follow-ups. She's like, listen, Gabor, I know you said about the two pains and I need to choose my pain. So I think this is where I'm at. And he just came because he'll never give like this is what you should do. He'll just give the advice, like you need to figure it out. He's like, listen, there was an article in The Guardian recently, and it had the top five regrets people have um like when they're on their deathbed. And he goes, it was so accurate. And the top one is not living a life authentic to yourself. And he just left that with the lady. And I was just like, yeah, like he said that once or twice. I think that piece of advice is if anyone's like needs any kind of advice from Kabomati, it's like, do you know what? Live a life authentic to yourself. Like, is what you're doing authentic? And you look at all our journeys, and it's like, okay, we're on like a business entrepreneur journey, but is it authentic if we just want to make loads of money and then sell the business? Or is it more authentic and fulfilling as if actually we want to put like a really high quality product out there and the first goal of the business isn't to make loads of money and sell the business, it's to share the adaptogens with different people, make it convenient and delicious for people to incorporate in their days. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. I've had a lot of neuroscientists and researchers on happiness, and it typically doesn't involve money. It involves like being of service to others. So if you look at your brand in terms of, I'm being of service because we're creating this amazing product. It brings people joy. It also is good for them. Then you're more likely to be happy and succeed. And final question, what are you manifesting now?
Well, the airline, right?
Yeah.
Well, the airline, but I really wanted to go to a health and well-being festival. And I'm basically manifesting how we're gonna pay for it. But
Yeah.
yeah. So there is with this, but it's we're gonna go there. I know we're gonna go there.
Yeah,
And it's gonna
believe.
be a lot of fun and we're gonna connect with some really cool people.
Yeah, you
That's
must
my
you must
at the
come to
moment.
Ireland and go to Wellfest. It's a huge fitness festival that's like headlined by
Oh,
Joe Wicks and
amazing.
stuff, and it's really really good. And your brand would do really well there because it's obviously all your target market. But thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It was so great to talk to you. And I can't wait to see London Nootropics in our high end stores over here, Brown Thomas, Savoy. There's a couple places I can think of, and in our law firms and corporates and uh,
Love.
fitness centers.
Love. Let's come to Ireland. We have to get dinner when we come to Ireland.
Yes, yes. Let me know when you're here.
Manifesting.
Let me know. And
100%.
thank you
All right.
so much.